All right, class, today we're going to be looking at some more in-depth event planning. So you've already read this in chapter 13 in your book, and I just want to go through these 10 steps as an introduction. The objective of this um, PowerPoint, this presentation, is to give an in-depth look at 10 important steps in planning, not producing, but right now we're just going to focus on planning a sporting event. This could be a youth event, this could be as large as a professional event, this could be a tournament. So we'll look, these 10 steps you will learn can be applicable to many different types of sporting events that you may be planning. The presentation is going to seek to present new material that's not included in your book, that will aid in better understanding of the topic, so that at the conclusion of this presentation, you're better equipped to go out and plan an actual event. All right, so let's get started. Step one is planning the event objectives. All right, so here let's look at determine who your event is for. Is it going to be for youth? Is it going to be, are you planning this event as a fundraiser? Is it for collegiate students, a church group, right? So you have to determine who this event is for, so that you can look at age range, gender, residency, special needs, and qualifications of the participants. All of this needs to be considered. Determine the type of event. This may have been done in the step above, but when you're looking at the type of event, this could be league play over a season. This could be a tournament, maybe a weekend-long tournament, a day tournament. This could be a match or a meet, an all-star game, or any number of other things, a youth event. So again, all of these steps can be applicable. So you need to determine what type of event you're going to have. All right, so next is determine the size or scope of your event. This is going to help when it comes time to determine what facility or what facilities, plural, that you may need for your event. The size and scope, will help. Once you determine that, it's going to help you better understand your equipment needs, personnel requirements, budgeting. Do you want to set limits on how many participants, how many teams that this event is going to involve? So that's something that you need to plan during this phase one or step one. Determine the categories of competition to be offered. This is often a safety issue, so you want to make sure that if it's a youth event, you're matching children with appropriate abilities and size and age, again, to make it a safer event and more enjoyable competition as well. Next, you're going to determine dates and duration of the event. Is this going to happen over the course of one day, of a weekend? Again, is it league play, so you have several months involved? And then you're going to look at determining the location or locations of the event. This may require a single location with the facility that you control. This may be a facility that you have to rent out, so there may be other requirements there, meeting the needs, rules, and regulations of those facility managers. So a lot of considerations here whenever you're looking at the location of the event. All right, let's look at step two, financial planning. All right, so all the money's not going to shouldn't be your most important planning concern. Finances play a major role in the feasibility of planning an event. Thus, initial financial planning is necessary at this stage because your budget will influence your subsequent planning. So then as you're looking at other categories, you can be more precise because you have done your financial planning. So you first need to prepare your budget. What expenses are you going to have, such as purchasing of equipment, uniforms, paying officials. All right, so prepare your budget. Develop plans to obtain all income and implement these plans. Right? Are you going to do, what type of fundraising can you do? Can you solicit for sponsors, which we learned about in the marketing chapter? If so, what are your plans to do this? Who are you going to contact? And then go ahead and implement these plans. Get the ball rolling, as it's not always easy to obtain funding for events. And then certainly keep accurate records of this financial planning. All right, step 3, we're looking at rules and official plans. Select the eligibility rules to follow. This is going to vary depending on what type of event you are planning. Do you have a local program that will set the eligibility rules? Is there another governing body? Is this a Little League event? So you have other governing bodies that come into play that have established rules that you need to follow. These rules need to be clearly designed and laid out and communicated. Decide what contest rules that you're going to use. Again, look at these governing bodies and how are you going to communicate these rules. In some cases, you can modify the rules to suit your event. So maybe there's no governing body per se. There's a set of rules that go with the league-wide, but you're just doing a weekend tournament, so you're able to modify the rules at that point. Determine who will officiate the contest and obtain their services. Determine procedures to follow when a protest is made by a key player, coach, or official. So if maybe something is not clear, many sports have complex rules that are enforced by the officials who must make certain judgments about the events during the contest. Inevitably, participants are going to disagree at some point. So determine your procedures ahead of time. All right, have a plan so that when this happens, you know how it's going to be handled. The officials know how it's going to be handled. The same with the next one, a procedure to follow when unsportsmanlike conduct is presented. And a lot of this, maybe you present in a code of conduct that's handed out to all of those who register. And that's one way you can communicate these procedures, as well as what's expected of these participants and fans and spectators. Determine what other officials you may need. Off the court, off the field, you may need scorekeepers, timers, as well as announcers. All right, so looking at step 4, coach development plans. The recruitment, selection, education, and evaluation of coaches is a vital part of planning, certainly when you're looking at youth sporting events. And so these are all steps that you need to consider. The last one, prepare coaches if they are leading the parent meetings. This may be something as a league director you do, but it may be something that if it's a large enough event that you delegate this out to each of the coaches. If you're doing that, you need to make sure that you're training them and preparing them in proper ways to have these coaching meetings. All right, step 5, risk and emergency plans. Prepare a risk management plan for these events, and this is a good idea to analyze the risk as you're developing this plan. This plan will give you steps to help reduce the risk of harm to you, to others, to your organization. And we talk more in depth about this in the legal issues chapter, so we've already been over that. Determine if you need a medical release form. Will this limit your liability? If so, you need to create this form and have it accessible at the registration part of the event before the event occurs. Determine your need for insurance to reduce your risk. I know in the marketing class that I just taught last spring, we put on a 5K event here on campus. It was through a nonprofit organization, and we learned through that process that there was a need for insurance to protect the organization, to protect our students, as well as to protect the university. And so, there may be a need. It depends on the size and scope of your event. Determine if you will be in compliance with local fire and safety ordinances. Again, we came across this when we were planning the 5K event on our campus because a portion of the race was actually run on a road. And so we had to be in contact with the safety ordinances, the local police department, in order to take proper measures to get a portion of that road closed just for the duration of our event. So things to consider. If food is going to be sold, determine what steps need to be taken in order to be in compliance with local and state food inspection laws. And this is a simple phone call to your local health department to determine what steps you need to take. Prepare an emergency plan for this event. This should specify how players and others will be treated when injured. This is going to include your information about medical personnel and supplies that will be present at the event, first aid station at the event, and how injured personnel are going to be treated and transported if injuries do occur. And then last, develop a plan for managing spectators if large numbers are expected. You heard the term crowd management, and this is going to be or should be embedded somewhere within your risk management plan.